Back again for another analysis video on Bitcoin, and we're going to jump straight in and take a look at what we said yesterday. If we do find some downward movement throughout the rest of the day, we might end up finding some support in this area where we found previous support, or continue down into this area and find this next support zone, which also coincides with another retest of the back of the trend line. So here's the chart where we left it off yesterday, and I said one of two things was likely to happen. Either we would try and break upwards and hopefully get above this daily resistance line, round towards it, test it as support, and I would look to get long. But if that couldn't happen and we decided to break downwards, I would be looking into this area here to find some support in the area where we found previous support here, or we would break down towards the trend line to retest it again and hopefully find some support in the area where we had some previous congestion here and some highs up in here. So let's play it out and see what happened. So as we can see, just after I made the video, we did try to start probing higher, and we did manage to put this thrust candle straight through this level. And at this point, I was actually thinking that we were going to make a run on this daily resistance. And these down candles here, to me, just look like we were coming back to test these minor highs before continuing the upward run. But as it turns out, I was wrong and we had this collapse. So after we collapse down here, I'm immediately looking to this area here to see if we can find some support there. And we put in this, like these two wicks in here, which are right around these highs. So that was a pretty good sign as far as I was concerned, that we were finding some support there. But maybe fortunately for me, this is all taking place while I was asleep, so I wasn't actually able to look at this and try get into a trade long as we were finding support here. And that was a blessing in disguise, as it turns out, because we did just find some congestion around here and then just absolutely collapsed. And where did we collapse to? Yes, the exact intersection of this level and the trend line. And we are currently there now, and we're struggling to get through it. We are seemingly holding some pretty decent support there. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a really good sign, and we do really want it to continue to hold support here and start to curve round back to the upside. But of course, we don't know that's going to happen, but if it does, I'll be looking to take it up towards this resistance area up here, and then maybe tomorrow or the day after we'll make that run on the daily resistance up there. But we have to plan for a potential move downwards. A move downwards at this point wouldn't be particularly good because we would be breaking down below the trend line again, and that may suck us down even further than we would like to go. But for now, I want to see us stay at least above this previous support here. So that's around this 10,780 or so. I think if we can stay above there, then even though we will be below the trend line, I still think it's valid because I think this whole zone encapsulates down that far. So we could spike down there, then consolidate and move around, and I still think that would be valid, that it would just be a retest of the trend line. But if we start to break below that area, then the next area to look at will be around 10.4, because this was quite a major swing low, and we had some highs up here that found resistance in that area. So that would be the next area that I would be looking to, but I'm not trying to catch a falling knife. If we do start to break down below here, I'm not going to look to get long at all, just because when Bitcoin decides to fall like that, you don't really know where it's going to stop and it could go anywhere. So I would rather just let it happen and then sit on the sidelines, wait for it to find a solid base of support, look like it's going to curve and move back around, and then look to get in at that point. But for now, it's actually looking quite promising that we are finding support here. But if we do start to fall and we break through this 10.4 level, the next big area that I'll be looking towards is around here, which is around the 97, 9800 area, because these are previous swing highs where we put in a series of them to create quite a strong resistance area, and we haven't yet been back to test that as support. And I did touch upon that very briefly in the original video where I explained how to mark up these charts. And I did say this is an area to watch because we have yet to test it as support, but it was pretty significant resistance at this point in time. So that would be definitely the next area that I would be looking towards if we continue to break down. But for now, there's not really much more to say other than we look like we're holding pretty decent support in this area here. And I would like to see that to continue and move back towards the upside. And if we do start moving back, we're probably going to see some congestion as we reach the bottom of this area, because it has been significant support over here. So we might find some resistance in this area as we start to curve back up. And at that point, that's kind of a critical juncture as to how this plays out, because we could come back here, find resistance, curve back around, and then find the collapse down to 10.4 or 9.7 or whatever. But we could firmly break through it just like we had on this candle. And at that point, I would be relatively confident that we would at least test the area up here towards the daily resistance. But for now, this is how it is, and we'll just take it step by step. And as more information comes onto the table, we'll include that in our analysis. But I think for now, that's enough from me, and I will see you tomorrow.